So, welcome again to Sally and Elaine. Nice to have you here. And there's Christine as well, which is nice, showing up. So let's just welcome her. And hi, Christine, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome. First time as a member, I think. So welcome to the session. Hope you got on all right. That link will always work. It's the same link that you can use every time.
Great, thank you.
Well, okay, so what you're going to do is just dive into some teaching. Let's have a look at today's email. You're getting my emails. Oh no, you're not doing emails, are you? You're getting Telegram messages. Okay, so let's just share my screen with you. There we go. Can you see that?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
So can you if you can read the quote for us? Miracles occur naturally.
You want me to read them?
Yeah, please, if you don't mind. Just that quote.
Miracles occur naturally as expressions of life. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle.
That's from beginning of the text. It's principle 3 of the 50 principles of miracles, contained in the section 1 of chapter 1, which we're going to start quite soon, studying that whole section as part of the Art of Letting Go course. So he's telling us, he's telling us what miracles really are, but this translation of the passage into alternative language should help you to understand what they are even more clearly. So let's ask Elaine to read that one. So just read the translated quote, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Elaine.
Yes, I'm on the iPhone, so I'll have to see this.
You can zoom in a bit if you want.
Oh, if you could, please.
There we are. Is that better?
Yeah. Yes. Corrections occur naturally as expressions of love. The real correction is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything comes from love is a correction.
If you just read that a couple of times,
read it again.
Brings a different perspective. Yeah, read it one more time and just consider, what he's saying, as opposed to using. And really, all I've done is change the word miracles and substituted corrections.
Right.
Read it again, and it has a different kind of insight, doesn't it?
Yeah. Corrections occur naturally as expressions of love. The real correction is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything comes from love is a correction.
Yeah. So what's he really saying about the nature of miracles? How can you make the corrections in belief and perception that perfect love inspires? So these corrections become so normal that you live in the domain of the miraculous, or in alternative language, a state of synchronistic flow. So there's a number of ways you can point to the state, and miracles is one, but in modern psychological terms, it would be called synchronistic flow. So yesterday we looked at the concept of flow. It was given this name by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, as a pioneering Hungarian-American psychologist, who just named it. This is a very old idea. It's been around since the time of the Tao Te Ching, 2,500 years ago. Lao Tzu coined the term. I'm not sure if Lao Tzu coined the term, but it's been around since then, called Wu Wei. Flow is Wu Wei in the Taoist philosophy. But we haven't looked at the word synchronicity, which is a relatively new word coined by another even more famous psychologist called Carl Jung, who most people have heard of. Along with Freud, he's generally the most famous of all of them. Because he did some very interesting stuff, and he had some different theories from Freud. He believed more in this idea of synchronicity, that things can happen, which, well, what do you define that? That means the simultaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection. So things are occurring, there seems to be some kind of relationship, but there's no obvious connection between them. And he coined the term synchronicity. So, example of synchronicity: you think of a friend, and then the next day you hear from that friend, you haven't heard them from years. They email you or they give you a call. Synchronicity. You need an answer, and then miraculously along someone comes with exactly that answer. That would all could all be called synchronicity. So Carl Jung was quite interested in the seemingly unexplainable, and he was also interested in the idea of the collective conscious. I think he in fact invented that word, collective consciousness. That he understood there was like some collective mind, and we could all tap into that mind. We're all kind of plugged into that mind, and that mind could, if we could tap into that, it could reveal things to us that we wouldn't necessarily be obvious. So he went into things like dream analysis and so on. So he was a very interesting character. And as psychologists go, one of the more enlightened ones. Certainly, he was pushing into the domain of spirituality. At the end of his life, there was a interview with him, and he said, "I know the truth. I don't think the truth. I know the truth. I don't believe the truth. I know the truth." So I think he'd come to some significant realizations of truth in his life through this inquiry that he'd done as part of his work. So according to Vedanta, which is one of the 6 schools of Hindu philosophy derived from the Vedas, it's a very ancient teaching of India. Synchronicity is one of the 2 main symptoms of enlightenment, the other being a lack of worry, as Deepak Chopra tells us in this quote. So who hasn't read? Let's ask Sally to read that. If you can read that quote. According to Vedanta,
there are only 2 symptoms of enlightenment, just 2 indications that a transformation is taking place within you towards a higher consciousness. The first symptom is that you stop worrying. Things don't bother you anymore. You become light-hearted and full of joy. The second symptom is that you encounter more and more meaningful coincidences in your life, more and more synchronicities, and this accelerates to the point where you actually experience the miraculous. By Deepak Chopra.
So two symptoms there. Stop worrying, which means you're in the now. You're not focusing on the future, and there's no fear. Worry is all about fear. So without the first symptom, then the second symptom doesn't come. You see, the first symptom is the precursor. Let go of worry, and then you allow the second one to come more and more. Because synchronicity doesn't come when you're worried. It doesn't come from planning and worrying and fretting and stressing about the future like many people do. It comes when you've let go, you're in the moment, and you trust. And you allow things to unfold in this synchronistic or miraculous way. So use whichever terminology you like. You could use miraculous. That's what A Course in Miracles uses. You could use synchronicity. Maybe familiar with that term. Maybe that's a better pointer. Remember, the words are just pointers to the truth. So these words of synchronicity, enlightenment, and so on are just pointers to an inner state that is just an experience ultimately. So the first symptom of enlightenment or sign that you're awakening is a lack of compulsive worry. It characterizes the mental state of so many people. And worry takes your awareness away from the present moment and makes both the past and the future real in your mind. So it attaches you to the timeline the ego has invented and blocks your awareness of eternity. The gateway to which in this world is the now. There's already. So as this diagram shows the timeline of consciousness illustrates, I might just open this up for you. So where are we? We want timeline, don't we? Timeline, there we go. I can see it bigger. Hi, Aurelie. Welcome. So the timeline of consciousness shows you, there's the other view, consciousness shows you how this works. So worrying about the future is really just another part of the death wish. That is the ego. Because if you worry continuously, so you continuously on this timeline, you're at a point, but you're casting your mind ahead and you're looking at this red line to come, and you are worrying, you're fearing what may come in the future in this timeline. So that keeps your mind bound to time, keeps your mind very much attached to the red timeline, going forward in linear time. So time becomes very real, and of course time leads you to one place, which is death. So worrying really is a death wish, just expressed over and over and over and over and over again. So you're worrying about whatever it is. You're not going to be okay. You're not going to have enough money. You're going to be alone, abandoned, rejected, whatever. And on it goes. But actually what you're really worrying about is your death. But the more you worry about that, the more actually that comes along, because you're putting yourself on the timeline in your mind where death is inevitable. Do you see that? So worrying is really just an expression of a death wish. Worrying keeps your mind bound to time, which leads to death in the end. That's why it doesn't feel good, because it's part of this death wish, which is life destructive. It's denying the truth of this transcendent life, love, eternal, pure forms awareness that is above the timeline. And when you worry, you just get rooted on the timeline. You deny that this eternal awareness is there. So by contrast, the Holy Spirit, or the remembrance of love, helps you to let go of your worries, allowing your natural state of joy to arise spontaneously in your mind and guide your thoughts, words, and actions. Very simply. So it allows joy to come, and joy comes from the transcendent dimension. It comes from above your higher awareness. It does not come on the level of form. You'll never find joy if you're looking ahead to the future and you're worrying. In fact, that's going to block joy. So you have to raise your mind above the battleground into this higher awareness where everything is okay, everything's perfect. Right now, there's just perfect love. Love brings peace. Peace brings joy. And then you can experience, this natural state of joy arising spontaneously in your mind and being able to guide your thoughts, words, and actions. And I mentioned joy because it's a state that powerfully and positively affects the quantum field, which we all seem to live as human beings. So joy consistently experienced leads to the second symptom of enlightenment, being the regular occurrence of miracles, or what we translate as corrections in our alternative non-Christian language. What Carl Jung calls synchronicities, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls flow, Yeshe refers to as miracles. So whatever you want to call it, corrections, synchronicities, miracles, flow, they're all pointers to this power that brings beneficent events and strange coincidences, such as seemingly random meetings with people, that gives us a deeper understanding of truth and benefit us in so many other ways. It points us to a power beyond what we know, what we expect. A power that can do anything, that can lift us out of any situation into peace, happiness, and joy, no matter what seems to be going on. And then can benefit us in so many ways. But these so-called random events are not actually random, but they're results of the remembrance of love's guidance that we can choose to listen to or not. So we can do a little mind training exercise now to help you to see this for yourself. So just make yourself comfortable. Sitting upright, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through your nose. And if you notice anything that's disturbing your peace at all, just scan your mind quickly. I'm just going to let it go with the help of your breath. So you exhale. Have a sense of just releasing whatever it is. Disturbing your peace. Now in this clear way, just carry on breathing in and out through your nose. Talk you through this. A nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths in and out through the nose. Let's do a few of those and get into a nice rhythm. And your mind is calm, clear, and empty. And just breathing in and breathing out. Now, think back to an event in your life where you felt an inner nudge, maybe even a persistent call to do something that probably didn't make sense, rational sense at the time. And what happened when you actually listened? So this is a situation where you actually listened to that call. We've all had it. There's been a nudge. We listened and then there was an outcome. And it's usually a positive, a beneficial outcome. So just bring to mind what that outcome was. Breathe in, connect with the energy of it. What does it feel like? So is there love there? Is there peace? Is there joy? Just connect with the emotional quality of the experience. My guess is that the situation worked out quite well for you in a way that you couldn't have planned or predicted when you listened to the nudge. So this is one of the hallmarks of a genuine miracle or correction. It happens without your conscious intention or planning when you choose to listen to your intuition, which is a remembrance of perfect love or oneness, it's always guiding you to have the experiences that lead you to a great awareness of oneness of love. So just kind of anchor that in. It's like, okay, that, you know, you've acknowledged it. There's some learning there. Maybe it's been useful just to review it. Now you're going to just open your eyes, let it go, shake it out for 10 seconds. Just going to break the state. And we're going to go into another little exercise. So again, take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and bring to mind a situation in which you felt a nudge or a persistent urge, and you denied it. You ignored this urge and preferred to listen to the voice of reason, correct reason. So bring that to mind. What happened? What was the outcome? How did that actually go for you and others? Just be aware of that. Breathe in. Connect with the emotions. So what was the emotional quality of the experience? Just try and connect to that briefly. Did you find increased fear, anxiety? Did you get frustrated with someone else or yourself? Did you get angry? It take you a long time to really let it go and get over it. Perhaps you're still struggling to get over it. Just acknowledge what's going on. And just be willing to really feel those emotions. So my guess is that it didn't turn out so well for you. Experienced some difficulty, perhaps even some quite severe suffering as a result of not listening to your intuition. So just connect to that pain very briefly. All it is just to experience it so that you learn a lesson, hindsight, to learn that it's always worth listening to your guidance. Don't deny the voice of your intuition because it's trying to tell you the correct way. Yeah, so connect with that experience. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. And that brings us to where we are in the session presently. So yeah, any insights? Anyone want to share any insights on from that little exercise?
For me, I'm ignoring a nudge. So I've done this before, so I know what the difference is between following it and not following it. And not following it's not a good plan, but I realize that I'm being nudged to do something and I'm still not doing it. So I think that highlighted that don't go down that route, follow the nudge.
Good. Yeah, so it brings some clarity. It's quite a good decision tool. Just doing an exercise like that.
It's very true.
Something that's nudging you currently. Listen, because often we don't, the ego's trying to cover that nudge over and not allow us to listen, to fill our minds with so much noise that we can't listen to that voice. To our detriment, because that voice is the guidance that's going to help you through the situation. And that's the guide home, saying, look, I'll show you the way home. So in every situation that you're faced with, you listen to that guide because it's going to tell you where to go. You're in a maze, it's dark, you're lost, you don't know where you're going, and you've got two guides. One's telling you to go one way, the other one's telling you to go the other way. Well, which do you listen to? That's the question. So it comes down to discernment. You need to discern the difference between the voices, and that's really what this mind training is about. It's training your mind to discern the difference between the Holy Spirit and the ego very clearly, and be able to once you discern the difference, then the choice becomes quite easy, because you can decide between those two voices. You can listen to them. They've got a clear message which you can listen to, you can hear, and then you choose one. So the ego only works when we're confused, and there's a jumble in our heads, and we don't know which voice is which, and often we try and figure it out with our reason. We go, well, let's apply my so-called reason, which is usually based on your past conditioning. So, what's worked in the past, and you go to that, and then you project that into the future, but that's likely to lead you to worry. Because if the past wasn't so great, then how do you know the future's going to be any better? So, and it puts you out of the now into the past future, do you see? Whereas this idea of tapping into intuition is going beyond the timeline, going beyond past future, into this timeless domain where you can get the guidance by raising yourself above the battleground. You're not consumed by the ego's thoughts. You can then return. That's why it's a double arrow going both ways. You can go up and out of it, and then you can return with guidance. And the Holy Spirit can do that. It raises you up. It can give you access to this kind of clear air above the battleground, and then it can also, once you've had that experience, perceive the situation differently, and it gives you a different perspective on the situation, and that's what we'd call a nudge or an intuition, to say, okay, we'll do this, coming from the source. So that's why it's the double arrow, because it's taking us up out of the dream, but it's also helping us to reinterpret the dream and guide us within the dream. So then there's both arrows, and that's its unique function. It's the bridge, it's the intermediary, it's the guide to help us to bridge this seemingly huge gap sometimes between God, our source, heaven, the state of pure formless awareness and perfect love, and this world, our perception going on in this world. It seems to be a huge gap. The Holy Spirit's there to bridge the gap, and if you keep bridging that gap, you reinforce that bridge. Eventually, it's like you've just merged. You've walked over the bridge effectively in your life, and God takes the final step. And like, well, you've kind of walked over the bridge, and you hear in your awareness, and there's just a merging into this pure formless awareness. So you no longer need the Holy Spirit. Then no longer need anything to interpret time and space, because time and space disappears for you, and there's only perfect love, pure formless awareness, perfect love. Okay, so does that make sense in the context of the diagram and the teaching, and how you can actually use that exercise and this teaching and insight to tap in and live in a joyful frequency of miraculous synchronicities, because synchronicities come from guidance. When you listen, you guide it to do something, then they happen. Often it doesn't make rational sense to do what you were called to do, but you just do it. So you have to suspend the intellect and rationality and just go with an inner feeling. And then in hindsight, Steve Jobs says, in hindsight, you can connect the dots. Go, oh, okay, well, I see why I was called to do that, because this and this and this happened. But when it's happening, you can't really see that. You just have to go with your intuition. And have faith and trust in it, and not second guess it. Okay, so any thoughts on that idea, teaching, questions, comments? Okay, so shall we do a meditation then? So we'll do our little power hour. Elaine, if you have to drop off now, you're welcome to. Otherwise, stay on for 20 minutes if you got 20 minutes, and we'll do a quick med based on the lesson for today, and then we'll go into some reading and discussion of the lesson and preliminary section on what is a miracle. How does that sound? Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone up for meditation?
Yeah.
Okay, so just making yourselves comfortable, sitting feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and just start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And full inhale, blow the stomach up like a balloon. So you're breathing into the stomach, clenching the sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Draw the energy up your spine. Into your heart center. Clench the sphincter muscle. And this warm wave of energy rising up to the spine, to your heart center. Put one hand on the heart to connect with your heart space. It's all about intuitive feeling. Breathing in again, draw the energy up the spine into the crown of your head. Pause to maximal inhale breath. So scan your mind again. Notice any fear thoughts, any worry about the future, how you're going to manage, how you're going to cope, whatever the situation is, financial worries, relationship worries, any worry that things aren't going to go well in future. And really what you're saying is that you won't be able to cope with that. So it's very disempowering. It's feeding this victim self that feels weak, vulnerable, afraid, not able to cope. So just acknowledge that, whatever those thoughts and emotions are. Breathing in. And how you can let them go with the help of today's lesson. So just say to yourself, today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me, on the situation, and judge them not. Give each one a miracle of love instead. So alternatively, today I let my true self perceive everything for me, every situation, and I do not condemn anything, but instead let go of everything and give it a correction of love. So just exhale on the truth of that. Have a sense of blowing out any of this dark energy. Gone. Lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And you just rest here in this deep peace and stillness. Where you're listening now to the true self, there's really nothing to fear. Let go of everything. Open your mind to transcendent awareness, pure formless awareness, perfect love, we call it. And in this state of awareness, it's going to listen to the antidote to all of this, which is miracle. So teaching is about and answers the question, what is a miracle? So breathing in and out through your nose, through the nostrils. Notice the subtle flow of air flowing into the nostrils. And then out of the nostrils. If the monkey mind wants to jump around, go onto the timeline, think about the future or the past. Just discipline a little bit and say, this is not what I would have, this is not what I choose. Choose instead a miracle. Which is, as Yeshua says, a correction. Does not create nor really change at all. Really looks on devastation, reminds the mind of what it sees as false. It undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception or exceed the function of forgiveness. Thus, it stays within time's limits. So it stays within time's limits, yet it paves the way for the return of timelessness. What's beyond time? There is no time, it's eternal. And love's awakening, for fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. So again, breathe in this power of the miracle. It's only just the power of source. Connect with it, anchor it in. And just by experiencing the state, rising above the battleground, this prepares you for the miracle. So you don't have guidance straight away, just in a meditation, that's fine. It can come. Just be aware of what happens after the meditation, after the session. You can get guidance at any time. You can be doing something else, like working. One great bit of guidance comes through when I was chopping vegetables. So that's how it goes. A miracle can happen at any time, and it's given to you to help you. So you need to be vigilant for it and not overlook it. The miracle says, Yeshua contains the gift of grace. For it is given and received as one. And so it illustrates the law of truth. The world does not pay. Because it fails entirely to understand its ways. Miracle inverts perception that was upside down before. So it ends the strange distortions that were manifest, that appeared. Now perception is open to the truth. Now forgiveness or letting go is seen as justified. So breathe in on this truth, breathe in the love that is the source of all miracles. As Yeshua tells us in today's quote, and breathe in, you're in the domain of the miraculous, there's nothing to fear. Only just stay here, let these words carry you deeper and deeper into this state of mind. So let's continue with the reading. Forgiveness, or letting go. Alternative language. Here's the home of miracles. It's the home of corrections. So when you let go, then you're correcting your mind. Not attaching to false ideas, beliefs. That's the correction. The eyes of Christ, or your true self, to deliver them to all they look upon in mercy and in love. Perception stands corrected in its sight. And what was meant to curse has come to bliss. Each lily of forgiveness, each thought of letting go, offers all the world a silent miracle of love. So when you let go and you offer love, then it offers everyone that love. And a sense of just breathing in the truth, this transcendent love, perfect love, pure form of awareness, perfect love, we call it, to every pore, every cell, every muscle, every body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. It's in the transcendent. And in the state, get these miracles. Silent miracle of love. Silent correction of love. Each is laid before the message of perfect love on the universal foundation to source and its extension. And the awareness of perfect purity and endless joy. Exhale. Blow it all out, let it all go. Have a sense of this perfect purity, the innocence, and endless joy. Tapping into, coming through. Perhaps you feel some of that joy, you smile, breathe it in, you anchor this state of joy in. So the miracle, so this was taken first on faith. So to ask for it implies the mind has been prepared to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. Let's see, does not understand. Yet faithful, bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there. So often we get signs in the dream that our faith is justified. Something shows up on the level of form to help us. So just be aware of any of those kinds of ideas coming in. Maybe it's just a shift in perception, a reinterpretation of something that has just occurred to you. Show you that faith is justified and faith is rested on a world more real than what you saw before, well transformed from what you thought was there. So miracles fall like drops of healing rain. Let's briefly do a visualization. Imagine you're in a desert and you've been walking the entire day without water, and mouth is absolutely bone dry and beginning to lose your strength, plodding through this dreary sand, and suddenly along comes cloud and starts rumbling, and it's thicker and blacker. It looks like it's going to rain. This all happens in a few minutes. You can smell the rain in the air, and then it's a cloud burst, the heavens open, and healing rain falls upon you, and it washes away all that dryness, the dustiness. Open your hands and you can have a drink and feel cleansed and purified and renewed. So miracles fall like drops of healing rain from the state of pure formless awareness above. On a dry and dusty world where starving, thirsty creatures come to lie. And now they have water. Now the world is green. Everywhere the signs of life spring up, to show that what is born can never die, for what is life has immortality, can never die. Connect you with your eternal mind source that is any not concerned with time at all. Knows that you're an eternal being. You rest in this eternal place forever. And so today, you let Christ's vision look upon all things for you and judge them not. Give each one a miracle of love instead. And just breathe in on that. And bring any specific issue that's problematic for you. When you're judging and you're gauging the ego's delusion of fretting, judging, worrying. Remind yourself that today I let Christ's vision or my true self perceive everything for me and do not condemn anything. Remember, when I'm fearing, I'm condemning it. Condemning myself really to misery, suffering, and punishment. Fear is a punishment for apparent guilt of separating from God. But that's just not true. So I do not condemn anything. Instead, let go of everything and give it a miracle or a correction of love. So by default, when you let go genuinely, then and let it go. So blow it all out. The breeze of your breath, these dark clouds are leaving you. Resting in this deep peace and stillness for a few moments. As you listen to the short commentary on the lesson. So it says, so I choose. So would I liberate. So I choose to liberate all things I see and give to them the freedom that I seek. So everything that you see, you can liberate. Don't have to allow it to be a cause for worry. concern at all. Liberate everything you see. And give to all of these perceptions the freedom that I seek. So you want this state that's transcendent, this pure formless awareness. So do I obey the law of love, give what I would find and make my own. So do I obey the law of love and give what I want to find and make my own. So breathe all of this in. You want this. You want to find the answer. You don't want to be in doubts and fear and uncertainty. Breathe it all in to every pore, to every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind. So it will be given me, will be given to me as miracle, as correction, because I've chosen it as a gift I want to give. So breathe it in, embrace it into every pore, every cell, every muscle, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light of the miracle. Each one that I accept gives me a correction to give. So when you accept the miracles, then you can give corrections and help others to let go by trusting this power. So each one that I accept gives me a correction to give, and giving as I want to receive, giving as I would receive, I learn your healing miracles, your healing corrections belong to me. So just know this, giving as you want to receive, and your healing corrections belong to me. So everyone's miracles are yours, because it's all just expressions of love. All expressions of love are maximal, as he says in the first principle. So you learn from your miracles and other people's miracles that all expressions of love are maximal. And just embrace this presence. Say, our Father, my source, knows my needs. It gives me grace to meet them all. So I trust in it to give me corrections, miracles to bless the world and heal my mind. As I return to it, as part of this process of return to oneness. I accept these gifts of grace as part of my awakening process. So I just surrender into this deep peace and silence, stillness. In the stillness you find the love, peace, the joy, the grace. Peace of God, it surpasses all understanding, it's been called. And there is no fear, there's nothing to fear, there's just knowing that this is true, this perfect peace, certainty, happiness it brings you, the joy. It's all there for you. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about for the next couple of minutes. Just breathe, relax, be still, and surrender to this presence as the source of all miracles, source of all corrections in your mind. Power of God, love, pure forms, awareness, perfect love, we call it itself. Just experience that directly for the next couple of minutes of deep silence. If any thoughts seem to arise to disturb this deep peace, observe them casually, breathe into them, remind yourself that my source knows my needs, gives me grace to meet them all. This guidance will come through, so I trust in it to give me corrections. We let go of all fear. Trust in its guidance to bless the world and heal my mind as I return to it. Just blow it all away. Whatever those clouds are, it's like cloud patterns, obscuring this true awareness. Blow them all away with the breeze of your breath. Going, gone. And so just gently coming back. An awareness of the body and the breath. And the senses in the world. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle, lock the energy in. Just notice all these subtle sensations of the breath in the body. Maximal inhale breath. Pause at the top of the inhale. Scan your mind. Again, just look for any scraps of fear, anxiety still lurking there. Anything you're worried about. With anger or frustration, it's all part of the same thought system. So be very vigilant to catch all the scraps and then go, because even a scrap of fear is part of a thought system. It's a delusion. You must let go of all of it. Otherwise, letting go is so important. So just let it go now, whatever it is. Blow it after the breeze of your breath. Imagine it's like a dark cloud leaving you, blown away by the breeze of your breath. So the nothingness that it really is, just to reveal the blue sky, which is your pure formless awareness. Perfect love, which is the sun. Pure formless awareness, the perfect love, the blue sky. It's a good analogy, good visual analogy. It doesn't matter what clouds seemingly obscure that. It's still there. We know that from experience in the physical world. Clouds may seem to be there covering the sun and the sky, but actually it's still there. It's covered over. In the same way, clouds in your mind just cover over the truth. So count of 2, just notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair and your feet touching the ground, and notice what you're feeling with your hands and touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose, and notice what you're hearing, surrounding environment. Notice all these things from this so calm and surrendered state of mind. You're in, you anchor this in, you root it in, ground it into your awareness. There's what you're hearing, but without any judgment, just observe sensations, feelings, smell, taste, touch, hearing, without interpretation. None of these things really have power to impact you. And therein lies your freedom. So now on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around. To ground yourself back into the so-called physical reality by noticing various objects in the room around you. Just focus on any object randomly. It's just that if you're not interpreting it and naming it and judging it, labeling it, then it's okay. I mean, it's just all right. There's no drama. It doesn't have any. You don't have any emotional investment in it. And then look at another object, and you see that actually your awareness is exactly the same with that object as well. And another one, and another one. Just your eyes randomly move around the room for 30 seconds, just taking in whatever they happen to see, resting on each object for a second or two, noticing that there's really just one awareness that underlies all of your sense perceptions. This awareness is the truth. This is the pure formless awareness of perfect love. before time and space were invented, that is still there in your mind, and that is always there as the witnessing presence of all of the illusions that you've invented. And this awareness helps you reinterpret the dream and find a happy dream and a peaceful dream and a loving dream. And that transformation is the miracle when you do that. So I hope this meditation has helped you to experience a few miracles or corrections in your mind. So that brings us to the end of the med. Now I thought we'd go into reading and discussing these sections. So the what is the miracle? I've got time. I've got till 3 o'clock, so we've got another hour and a bit. Can read and discuss that, and then also the lesson itself. How does that sound? Is everyone up for that? Everyone's muted.
Hi, sorry, I have to go now, but thank you so much for this session. And
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's a natural break now. So we've got a natural break in the proceedings, so it's a good time to leave if you have to. You've got a med and a bit of teaching, so we'll see you Sunday, hopefully. Sunday I want to do an evening session, invite a couple of people to the masterclass. So 6 o'clock your time already, Sunday.
okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll
Right, see you
diarize.
then. Have a lovely weekend.
You too. Enjoy. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. You also got to go, Christine. All right. Thanks for joining. Okay, and then there were 2. There we are again. Yeah, anything you want to share on that? Any experience
Yeah.
you want to share?
There is. So doing the nudge, the nudge that I've been nudged to do and I've not been doing, it's really triggered me. I really like my heart's pounding. I can feel fear. It's really peculiar. So the nudge is to play the transformation game professionally. And what ego is saying to me is things like, well, where are you going to do it? There's no room. The table's not big enough. The room's not big enough. How's everyone going to fit in? It's really weird. I've never had anything like that before. That's quite really strong in my heart. So my take on that is a really good thing to do, because if the ego says don't do it, then it's really challenging the ego.
Yeah.
So I really got to do it now.
I'll say that's correct. Correct interpretation. Sure. Because it'll resist what is going to be powerful. Defense. Its defense is fear. So you feel that kind of heaviness and that resistance, which doesn't really have any reason, but it's just this irrational fear. It's just a defense of the ego, because it somehow knows that that's going to be powerful. It's going to be more of its undoing and undoing of other people's dream. Remember, it's a thought system that has kept humanity in bondage for lifetime, millennia. So any attempt to free the mind, the at-one-ment, it resists. Then you feel that resistance as a fear, heaviness, darkness, whatever. So it's the ancient struggle between the light and the dark.
It's like the final frontier. It feels like it was really strong.
Well, maybe it is for you. You just don't know what it might bring about. It might be a big shift for you and also for others.
It's funny how it's picking out logistics. It's not saying, oh, you're not good enough to play it. It's not saying you can't manage whatever happens. It's saying furniture's a problem. Space is a problem. That's really funny.
Well, it'll focus on whatever it can to make you believe it. So it's quite a good. I mean, you've obviously gone too far to believe the story that I'm not good enough. That's obviously ego. So then it tries something else and goes, oh, no, but the logistics don't work. You know, you can't do it because you don't have the furniture or the space. Or, but you know, that's a thin disguise, isn't it? You know,
It
that's not
is. It is.
because you can rearrange the furniture, you can clear space,
Yeah.
you can rearrange rooms. No, you've got many properties, haven't you? So I mean, you should have access to furniture and stuff like that. So
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
well, I mean, you'll find a way to make it work, won't you? You know,
Yeah. It's just really funny that it feels such a strong thing for the ego. You think just playing a game is nothing, really, wouldn't you? But obviously, it's not that.
well, you know, if it's playing the transformation game, which is designed to undo the ego, then for the ego, it's going to find that very threatening. Sounds like it's a powerful game. So yeah, you know, do you have to be there in person, or can you play it online? How does it work?
I have played it up to now mostly physically,
Hmm.
but it's possible to do it online if somebody, ideally, if they've got the game in their house, you just buy it off Amazon. As long as you've got the game, it's easier. I haven't
Right.
actually ventured into the land where the person on the other end of the internet hasn't got the game, but I can learn to do it, can't I?
Hmm.
I just think it's more powerful for the person to actually have the
Hmm.
game, see their life playing out in front of them, have the cards in front of them, keep reviewing their life. But you know, I'm open to guidance. I'm open to how it can unfold. Because
I'd
obviously,
like to. I never played it. I'd like to play it. So.
yeah, I think online is probably going to meet more people. Yeah, more diverse connections. Yeah. All right, I'll bear that in mind.
Well, so you know, opens up anyone really in the world, as opposed to just in your little neck of the woods.
I guess
So
just do it. It's just go do it and don't think
put it
about
out there, yeah. Just put it out there and say, you know, I'm doing this as a, well, you could do a free trial, I suppose. You know, you go, okay, let's see how it goes. Get some testimonials. It's often a good way to do things.
I feel like I've done a lot of free trials in my life. My last 5 years is free trials of it, or 3 years of it, whatever.
Right. You've done a lot of these transformation games.
So yes, yeah.
That then.
But yes, just do it.
If you've already got testimonials and stuff, then you can just put it out there and say, you know, this is what this can do.
Yeah, it's really miraculous.
The right people will come.
Perhaps I could do a free trial of an online game where people haven't got the game, and just give them a go.
Yeah, see how that works. I'll be a guinea pig on that.
Yeah, all right. Right. Right.
Because I played it, so I'm curious. And I haven't got the game. I mean, I could get it, but then that defeats the object if you want to test it, see how it goes, you know, without the game. Because that is a bit of a, if you say, well, you have to get the game to play it, then you know that's going to possibly be an obstacle for people. So
yeah, sure.
You make it simple. So okay, just turn up. You know, you just need a pen and paper or whatever, whatever is required, and then you guide them through it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, there. Okay. So shall we have a look at what is a miracle? Okay, we haven't looked at this. I think we did it once or twice. Should we have another look at what is a miracle and then the lesson?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So we're going to read the original and then the translated version line by line, and then just, you know, any thoughts come up, we'll unpack it line by line.
A miracle is a correction. A miracle is a correction. It does not create nor really change. It does not create nor really change at all. It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it sees is false. It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it perceives is false.
So perception is just a bit broader than sight. So brings in, you know, every perceivers, whatever's coming in, not just physical sight. Because that's actually what he means. most of the time. When he's saying sees, most of the time he's actually referring to perception rather than the physical sight, with some exceptions. You've just got to read it in context.
Yeah.
So it looks on this devastation that the ego has produced and reminds the mind that all of it's false. It's looking on a devastating dream, but nothing more. The dream isn't real. So it just undoes error. Can we carry on? Undoes error, but does not attempt.
It undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception, nor exceed the function of forgiveness. It undoes, number 4? Yeah, it undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception, nor exceed the function of letting go. 5, thus it stays within time's limits. So it stays within time's limits. Yet it paves the way for the return of timelessness and love's awakening, for fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. And so it stays, and yet it paves the way for the return of timelessness and love's awakening, for fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings.
Nice, very poetic, and there's a kind of a gentleness to the words. It's like fear will just slip away. A gentle remedy. It's quiet, it's calm, it's soothing, it's gentle. And it paves the way for the return of timelessness. So it's happening within the domain of time. It's very important to realize. We go to our timeline idea. It's happening within this domain of time. But it connects you with timelessness. So this eternal domain that's beyond time, no time. By raising your mind up, by raising your awareness up in each situation, it calls on you to let go. So you're still within time's limits because you're still perceiving. That's why it's a double arrow. You go there maybe for a bit, but then you perceive the situation differently. So you're still within time. That's why I'm saying it's still within time, but it paves the way for the return of this timeless state. Because you've now got a bridge there that you've just created. The more you go into pure formless awareness of perfect love, the more that bridge is strengthened. So every time you forgive, this arrow gets bigger and thicker, and the red arrows get smaller and less loud and important. But to start with, the situation might seem like that arrow is enormous. This is a huge arrow. I'll just do a little formatting to show you what that might look like. So if you went like massive 10-point arrow, and you went okay, it might seem like that to start with, because the ego is trying to literally crowd out the Holy Spirit. See that? It's a massive amount of attachment to that particular issue, and that crowds out the Holy Spirit's awareness. It's like we'll just cover that over. So obviously the more the attachment is, the harder it is to let go, because then the ego is crowding out the Holy Spirit's voice, and it's harder to hear that voice. But it is always possible to hear it, which is why I'm saying, I ask for the miracle. Go into your higher awareness. Ask for the miracle. Let go of fear. So the ego is always working on past, future, saying, well, your past was bad, and it references to all of your past traumas and failures and whatever. And then it says, well, that's going to mean the future's even worse, and it projects into the future. And so it's covering over the present moment, which gives you access to this domain. So it's like the present moment is a portal to this infinite, eternal state of mind. Seems to be very narrow. Yeshua even said at one point well, he said, the gate, the way to heaven is narrow, and few will attain it. It's like trying to go through the eye of the needle with a camel, something like that. And what he was trying to indicate was that being in the now is you have to be very focused. It's very easy to get distracted. Wide is the way to damnation, because it's very easy to go into past and future orientation. The ego is trying to pull you there all the time, and it's harder to stay just I'm here now, I'm in the moment, and then that opens up this whole dimension of eternity to you in the now. So that's why the now is so important. It's like a little portal, and then you can go through that doorway into this vast, infinite, eternal state of mind that lies beyond it. It just seems to be, to start with, it seems to be a little crack. That's all. The ego is doing its thing, and it's a little crack of light. And then our job is to open it more and more and go, okay, actually, there's the answer. So let me open that doorway, clear the space. So as you let go of the ego, you let go of what's crowding it out. That you create the space, you open the door, and then the door becomes much more obvious to you. You're like, actually, that door is always there. It's always open. So I'm always rooted in the now, and I'm always connected to my source. I never lose connection. That's what we're trying to achieve with this mind training. So there's no crowding out. The ego is quiet, or it's completely undone. And there's just I've expanded that little window, and it's now like wide open. And I'm just wide open to source and to this eternal presence that can then come in the moment and direct me and give me very specific guidance in my dream, in potentially quite difficult situations. I've mentioned the situation with Yeshua, where he was the adulteress, where he was under real pressure. It could have been a disaster, and because he's so tapped in, he doesn't allow the ego to crowd it out. He just gave himself a moment. There was a moment of just, okay, let's just connect, let's ask for guidance. And then it comes in, and he gets the guidance to say one sentence. Let he who has never sinned cast the first stone. Perfect line, just to diffuse the whole situation. Now that's wisdom, isn't it? But that's because he's opened the channel so wide to source that he can hear it, even in a situation most people wouldn't be able to hear it, because the ego's fear would come in and crowd it out. So this is the training. If you can stay in that awareness and train yourself to do that in difficult situations. Well, it starts with easy ones, doesn't it? But it's about learning to do it with whatever, without exception. Then you're starting to train your mind. It's like combat training. Okay, so now you're in a really challenging, difficult situation, and then you've trained yourself so that it's easy. Which is, from a even on a sort of physical level. If you're training anyone, like sport or the military, they make the training hard so that when you get into the extreme situation of a competitive sport or combat, that you're ready. So you've got to make the training tough so that you're able to cope with it. So this is the mind training is like, okay, we'll start with the simple things, but start looking at all the things, all the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. When it's quiet and calm, and you're doing these meditations, and you've given yourself the time out to do a meditation or breath break, then you're not under immediate pressure. So you train your mind there, and then in the moment when you test it, you're much more likely to be able to respond from your higher awareness in the moment, because it's become your default mode. That's what we're trying to do, is install a new operating system in your mind that then takes over from the ego and gives you the guidance kind of automatically. So it's not an effort. It just happens. For Jesus and Yeshua and Buddha, it wasn't an effort anymore. It just happened. They were just in it, and they just tapped in. But it did take them quite a lot of work, various spiritual practices they engaged in over many years to get there, to get into that state of consciousness. Okay, so let's go back to Teaching, any thoughts on paragraph 1?
No, but it brought me quite a lot of peace. I felt all the fear that I was feeling just go in the timelessness.
Good. Was that in the meditation or just now?
Just now, reading that one.
Oh. Yeah. Timeless. Remember, this timeless means no time. So that's a state where there's no time. That means there's no change. Time is a measure of change, isn't it? So there cannot be a change there. It's changeless. Timeless means changeless. It means eternal, means permanent. Nothing ever changes. Just kind of mind-blowing for the ego. So it can't get its head around no change. It's like, because you're so used to change, aren't you? Every moment things are changing. From moment to moment, nothing's quite ever the same. I've just moved body position on a biochemical level. Everything's changing all the time. Your body's in total flux all the time. There's never a stable state in the dream. You have to look beyond the dream to find that changelessness.
Yeah, I just kind of tapped into the expansiveness of timelessness. I remembered what it's like to play the transformation game in that energy, and the timelessness came in, and it feels good.
Yeah, and then there's the miracle. So it's like, okay, we'll just go into the timeless state, and there's the guidance, and then there's no more fear, and you get the guidance to do what you need to do on the level of form. And that's the miracle of the Holy Spirit, is it can take from that awareness, the higher awareness, the timeless awareness, and it can interpret the situation from that awareness and give you guidance as to what to do in the dream, to move forward, and give you, going forward in the dream, to give you the experiences you need that are going to help your mind to wake up, and you complete your journey of at-one-ment. Which is quite extraordinary. I mean, we're very lucky that this is the case. That it's been built in to the time-space belief. The Holy Spirit is built in as the get-out, escape from it. And that had to happen because it's not true. The ego is not true, and time and space isn't true. So there had to be a get-out clause, get-out, escape, because it's not the foundational truth.
Feels to me it's like, what eyes do you perceive it with? Ego eyes or eyes of love?
Yeah, exactly. So the eyes of love see from this perspective only. They go, hey, actually, everything's fine. Everything's perfect. This is already there. It's whole. It's complete. You're one with us. Everyone's one with us. So there's really nothing to fix. However, you can still be inspired to play the transformation game, because that just feels right to do. Are you trying to fix anyone? Not really. It just feels like you're guided.
Yeah.
Do it, and so you can act in this inspired way, this guided way, in all these situations, which will then lead to people transforming miracles. But it's not coming from the place of lack. I mean, you're not doing it because, oh well, I need to do this to whatever it is, whatever the ego's objective is. I need to fix myself. I need to fix people. I need to earn money. Some external objective. It's actually just, no, do that. The Spirit says do that because it feels right. And I'll show you, if you listen to my guidance, I'll show you the plan. And all of this, the dots will connect, and you'll see that there is a bigger plan. So then you have this divine intelligence that's actually planning for you. So you don't have to consciously plan. It's doing it for you by you just surrendering in the moment and listening. You get the guidance, and the plan then unfolds. So it's the easiest way of planning. It's the no plan planning. You just listen to guidance in the moment, trusting that this divine intelligence that knows all things is guiding it, and is giving you. Here's how the Spirit works. It gives you the next step. It says, okay, so here's your next step. I'm not going to tell you why. I'm not going to tell you the next 5 steps. I'm just going to give you the next step. Take the next step down the road in faith, and then the next one will follow. And isn't that how any journey works? You're driving a car, you only drive the next 50, 100 meters at a time. You're not worried about, what's a kilometer down the road. It's just the next step. And that's how you get to your destination. Just, 50 meters, 100 meters by 100 meters. That's all you can see ahead. So that's how the Holy Spirit works. What's your next step? And just gets you to take that. And then from that step, you now enter the flow, the synchronicity, and then the next step becomes logical. And those are the doors. As the Camel talks about the doors opening. These are the doors that start to open because you've taken a step that then opens a door that wouldn't have opened if you hadn't taken the step, because you wouldn't be there. So, and that's the journey, and that's quite an inspiring journey to take. That guided sort of flowing synchronistic state. It feels good. It feels happy, peaceful, joyful, even because the Spirit is coming through in it, and it's a happy dream.
Yeah, it makes it fun then, doesn't it? It's light and fun.
Yeah. So, it can be light and fun, and the ego's like, oh, it'll tell you, well, the Spirit's really boring because it's just the same. But actually, in time and space, while you're here, it's not. It's fresh. It's new. It brings in new things, new people, places, events, circumstances. Something fresh and new. That's designed to break you out of the old paradigm of the ego. So that's how it plays out in time and space. Ultimately, you go into the changeless time space, changeless timelessness beyond time and space. But while you're here, it's actually quite an inspiring journey. It's the most interesting thing you can do. Compare that with all the the restriction and the fear of the ego, and the contrast is huge. Okay, so number 2, miracle contains the gift of grace.
Miracle contains the gift of grace, for it is given and received as one. A miracle contains the gift of grace, for it is given and received as one. And thus it illustrates the law of truth. The world does not obey because it fails entirely to understand its ways. And so it illustrates the law of truth. The world does not obey because it fails entirely to understand its ways.
You understand what he means by it's given and received as one.
Given and received, back there, yeah. Okay. Well, it is all one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one source. So given and received as one source, one energy. And in the miracle, you start to realize that there isn't really a giving and a receiving as such. It's just one source that it's coming from. In the world, it might look like, well, you received something and then you gave it to someone else. There might be some kind of exchange of loving energy, but actually you realize it's just love giving to itself. It's loving awareness that's extending to itself, which may look like another form, another person.
Something's just crossing my mind about how when somebody conditionally gives, they give it with expectation of something.
Yeah.
You can really feel it, can't you? You can, I know. Just as a human example, my mother used to give presents to people, but they came with so much baggage, so much expectation that when she gave it, it felt like she was taking from us, not giving.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the opposite.
So that's conditional giving is not giving at all. It's actually control. The ego's attempt to control the situation, and it's special. It's special love. It's got all the ego's specialness laced into it, which denies the truth of unconditional love, which is given freely. Unconditional means there are no conditions. I give it and it's given. So you give the gift, and it's not up to you to decide what should be done with the gift. There's a story that was told to me. It's a South African guy who was traveling in Italy, and there's I've actually been there. There's a place called, I think it's called Murano. It's famous for glass. They do glass works. So he was there, and he's, oh no, I'll get this really, ornate kind of glass sculpture thing for a friend. And he was like, you had to be really careful, you had to take it home on the plane and it wouldn't get broken. Apparently gave it to the lady, and she broke it straight away, intentionally. And he was like, what? But and she said, oh, well, I've broken it because it's going to break anyway, so I'd rather just get it over with.
Oh my God.
But he took it as a lesson because he was doing the course. It was like, okay, well, you give the gift unconditionally. It's up to the person what they do with it. There's no expectation as to what should happen. It's a great lesson, isn't it? It's like, whoa, I've gone to all this effort to bring you this thing and you break it straight away. It's like, but obviously it was a lesson for him. It's like a lesson in this, unconditional giving.
But also he probably bought it and he was scared of it breaking. So he gave it with the fear of breaking, and so it broke.
Yeah, and then it's broken. It's like, okay, your fear's just gone. It's like, oh my God, I've gone to all this effort, and you could have got really angry and gone like, how dare you? I've just gone to all this trouble. It cost quite a bit of money. I've had to, take really good care of it to get it back in one piece because it's so fragile, and you just gone and broken it straight away. I mean, like, what? So obviously it was a a lesson for him, great lesson in giving and receiving. And you got to give a gift unconditionally, or don't give it at all. It's not, otherwise it's not worth the name of gift. It's actually says these are not gifts, but bargains with God. You're not actually giving, you're trying to bargain. You're just trying to bargain for what it thinks it wants and needs by giving the gift. And you can sense it, as you say, like when it comes with all that expectation, it's like it's not given freely and generously, then it's tainted. It doesn't, it's actually not really a gift. Okay.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Do we go up a bit? We're number 2 of number 3. I'm getting confused now. Right. A miracle inverts perception, which was upside down before, and thus it ends the strange distortions that were manifest. Now perception is what are we on? Number 3. A miracle inverts perception that was upside down before, and so it ends the strange distortions that appeared. Okay, number 4. Now is the perception open to the truth. Now, perception is open to the truth. Now is forgiveness seen as justified. Now letting go is seen as justified. Yep, it certainly is.
So it's turning your perception right side up. And I'm actually perceiving it correctly now, from the perspective of truth, of oneness. It looks different. Every situation looks different. It's a flip-flop of your perception. So it's quite a profound process. We sort of say glibly let go and the miracle, but actually to transform your mind in this way and turn it upside down is profound transformation. You've just gone from one belief and you've discarded that and gone into the opposite. And it's a total reversal. It's totally 180-degree turnaround. So it's like you're going in one direction and you go, no, I'm going to stop turn around and go in the other direction, going completely the opposite direction when you it's a genuine miracle.
Mm.
And so that's a a huge course correction. It's like you're going in the wrong direction. Now you're going to turn around and go in the right direction. It'd be like equivalent if you're in a plane, flying from London to New York, and then you go, oh, actually, we're going the wrong way. We need to be going instead of going west, we need to be going east. So let's turn around and head back the other way. That's like that radical. Totally different directions.
Mm.
And then the more you do it, the more letting go seems to be seen as justified. As perceived as justified. Maybe. So you see that this is perceived that this is the only way, really. This is the only tool you have at your disposal for change, and for healing your mind, freeing you from the ego's dysfunctions. Is the miracle and the letting go that it brings, that it entails. Okay, so happy with summary of number 2? Anything land for you there?
Just that feeling of letting go, that relief and that breathing out where it just goes.
The breath really works with letting go, because there's a natural tendency to let go on the exhale, isn't there? I think in Greek, the word for exhale and for forgiveness are the same. I may be wrong, but someone once said that to me. So that's interesting. Same, because it's a natural letting go process, isn't it? When you exhale, okay. So just let go of whatever you're holding on to. So the breath then just facilitates the internal letting go, which is why we use it all the time in our breath breaks and meditations. Okay, so number 3.
Forgiveness is the home of miracles. Letting go is the home of corrections. It's quite a big change of wording, isn't it, really? I know we do it all the time, but when you say home of miracles feels quite in a container. But when you say home of corrections, it kind of opens it up to all aspects.
Yeah, it's interesting what a word does. It's a home of corrections. So when I let go, what he's saying is that the corrections are made through the letting go process. So the miracle and letting go are really one. The miracle describes the kind of the process of the transformation from the one to the other. Letting go is the process. Letting go of forgiveness is the process. The miracle describes that process, kind of just looking at it maybe from a higher perspective and going, okay, so you're letting go, but the whole thing is called a miracle. And then the miracle might have an internal aspect and an external aspect. I have an internal shift, and then externally something shows up to show me that that's a positive change of mind, and then that's the external aspect of the miracle. So if you remember the integral model, just somewhere around here, there we go. It shows us and he talks about both aspects as being miraculous. So the miracles is the correction of mind, change in mind, change in belief, change in perception. But then the miracle is also used to refer to the observed behaviors and outcomes that are showing that shift is effective. See, so it can work on both sides of this integral model, left and right.
Because sometimes you're not aware of the internal miracle. Sometimes it shows up and then you're aware of it because you can see the change.
Yeah. So it's the external is often needed to show you that the internal has happened and that's real, and it's to confirm it in your mind. Oh, okay, all right, I get it now. See, and then it's confirmed that that shift is good and valuable, and you're going the right direction. And so the miracles, the external aspect of the miracle is the signpost on the journey that's telling you this is great, you're going the right direction, heaven ahead, keep going, kind of thing. So that's the purpose. When people are into conscious manifestation for the sake of manifestation, they're saying, well, I want this because the assumption is going to make me happier. That's not at all what the miracle is. That's just magic. The miracle is a sign that there's a shift in the mind in the right direction.
Yeah, I've just got to go in the other room.
Moving rooms, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Logistics of life.
Okay, so forgiveness is the home of miracle, letting go is the home of corrections.
The eyes of
Christ,
the eyes of Christ deliver them to all they look upon in mercy and in love. The eyes of your true self deliver them to all they look upon with loving awareness. Yeah, it's looking upon people with unconditional love.
That's that's our challenge, because we see the dysfunction, we see the errors and the so-called sins, but the difference between sin and an error is that in your mind, sin is permanent and real and punishable, and error is not. So the Holy Spirit can perceive error, but not make it real. It goes into the correction and says, this is just another illusion. It's false. So therefore, it can be let go of. Whereas if you perceive someone as sinful, it's like, no, that's just what they are, and they're condemned, because of it. So the error is open to then a correction, a change, transformation, if you perceive it correctly. Whereas the sin is not.
Yeah, that reminds me of the quote. It's never too late to have a good childhood, because when people look at their childhoods, they see it as a sin occurred, and that will never change. That will always be their past. That's always their foundation of life. But actually, that's not true, is it? You change your perception and your view of your life changes. So it's an error of perception.
Yeah, exactly. It's an error, and because it exists in your mind, it's never too late to have a good childhood, because you can change your perception about it. And it can all be cleaned, and even if it was on the level of form apparently shocking, it can actually be good, because you realize I learned a lot from it, and I've as a result I've let go, and I'm that's part of my healing journey. So we can always change our mind, change our perception. What was meant to curse has come to bless. Perception stands corrected in its sight. So the ego is trying to curse, and then the Holy Spirit says, "Oh well, this is okay, because this is just showing you. It's showing you your shadow. It's showing you the ego, and this is good, because you can let it go now." That's the reinterpretation.
Yeah. Who was it? Somebody said, I've always had this feeling like that if you're resistant to something or someone, then that's the person you need to hang out with, because they're going to show you your ego. And somebody said, I can't remember who in the transformational world said, for 3 months they went looking for all the people that annoyed them, And then after 3 months, their ego collapsed. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Well,
yeah, well, it's, they push your buttons, don't they? And it's like it gives rise to the ego, and then you get a chance to let it go. But that doesn't mean it has to be permanent. You don't have to hang out with that person forever.
No.
You can move on. There's guidance that you'll get, because sometimes it's just self-flagellation.
Sometimes when you've healed, that's where the greatest love is. When you meet somebody you didn't understand, and you have a conversation and you do some work together, and then you really get them at the deepest level of love, then quite often that becomes a sacred relationship.
Well, that's a transformation, isn't it? From a special to a holy relationship, which is where the people see themselves as one. There's no longer two separate selves interacting from their separate self perspective. It's one mind, which is what he's pointing us to. But that's probably the most challenging aspect of the course, to be honest. The relationships, because there's always another. There's another involved. It's not just you. The other person's got their own stuff going on. They might be open to this kind of teaching. They might not be. So it's about applying it wisely to all your relationships, and getting the guidance as to what's for your highest good, and that's all about the at-one-ment. What's actually going to take you most quickly to this state of at-one-ment, and only the Holy Spirit knows that, and give you the guidance that's appropriate for you in the situation.
Okay, so number 3, perception stands corrected in his sight, and what was meant to curse has come to bless. Perception stands corrected in its sight, and what was meant to curse has come to bless. Yeah, well, that's just what I was thinking. Like, you meet that person you don't get on with, and each lily of forgiveness offers all the world the silent miracle of love. Each thought of letting go offers all the world the silent miracle of love. That's lovely, isn't it? That's beautiful.
Should we change it to the whole world, you think?
Yeah.
Offers the whole world.
And when you say world, you're talking about Earth, but do you include the universe? Or
he's really talking about he's talking about the world is the external aspect, the exterior aspect of reality. So it'd be talking about this exterior domain in the intimate model.
So that includes other planets, other universes.
Yeah.
Whatever we can make
Even
up.
though, they don't, practically speaking, really affect us, but I guess if you're into whatever, UFOs or something, it might be something that interests you, or stars, that's astrology and stuff. So it's all part of it. But he just uses the world as kind of the placeholder for the external aspect of reality. That's what it means. Because there's the world, and it's your world. It's actually just your world is your reality. Your seeming external reality that you can perceive is your world. We're saying interacts with other people's worlds, but actually we're in a collective dream. None of it's really there. He says there is no world. That's the fundamental teaching of the course. There is no world. You're just dreaming there's a world. So you dreamed up this place and time where you seem to be interacting and having experiences with people in time and space in the so-called external world, but the whole thing's a hallucination. It's a dream world. None of it's true. And it's literally your perception projection that makes up your world. That's your little world, and then it interacts with other people's worlds. And we go, oh, but we all see similar worlds. We see the sky, and we see the flowers and the plants and the buildings and other people, and so they must all be there. It's a collective hallucination, because the ego that's behind it is this one mind behind it, one consciousness that's projecting this onto the screen, and then it's fragmented itself into these separate minds that now perceive it from different angles and give it a reality. And it's ingenious. Well, my goodness, you go, oh my goodness, what a mind job we've done to convince ourselves that we are separate selves. That's the whole point. That we really do have a separate identity. We are this individual person with a name and a form and a story, and the whole thing is real. That's what's going on. That's why it was all invented. Without an external world, how would you believe that you're separate? You see that? You need the external world. The ego needs to go out of the mind into the external world to convince itself that its dream of separation is true. That's the veil of illusion it's created to convince itself that it's all true. Okay, so go back here. Each is laid before the message of perfect love.
And each is laid before the word of God upon the universal altar to Creator and creation in the light of perfect purity and endless joy. Right one? And each is laid before the message of perfect love upon the universal foundation to source and its extension in the awareness of perfect purity and endless joy.
Nice. Each is laid before the message of perfect love upon the universal. So altar is foundation. We've changed altar to foundation. Foundation to source and its extension, and that for the message of perfect love. So your mind is the foundation. The message of perfect love is delivered to your mind, and then the miracle is laid upon before the message of perfect love. So you got the message, and then the miracle is like the application of the message upon the universal foundation to source and its extension, which is your mind, in the awareness of perfect purity and endless joy. So it brings about that state of mind, perfect purity and endless joy.
Okay, number 4. The miracle is taken first on faith, because to ask for it implies the mind has been made ready to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. Ooh, let's read that one again. The miracle is taken first on faith, because to ask for it implies the mind has been prepared to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. Oh, that's kind of like food mixed my mind up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Taken first on faith. Okay.
Yeah, get that bit.
Mind has been prepared to conceive of what it cannot see and does not yet understand. So we can't quite grasp it, the truth. So we're like reaching into the unknown in our minds. We're asking for something that's a little bit beyond our understanding. We've been prepared to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. So it starts with the faith. It's like, I don't really fully get this, because we don't when we start. I don't fully get it, but okay, I'm willing to try.
Yeah.
Like trying to learn a new skill. I'm willing to try and ride the bike, even though I'm not quite sure. I'm a little bit nervous. Is this actually going to work? But okay, I'll jump in and I'll start riding, and then your faith is justified because you go, oh, this actually works. And and I'm seeing the benefits. Yet faith will bring, that's the second one, yet faith will bring its witnesses.
Yeah, faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there. Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there.
Yeah, that's the miracle.
Is really there or really here?
Faith will bring its witness to show that what it rested on is really there. There, here. Here implies that you're somewhere. I think we'll leave it as that. Really there. So the miracle will. So the the witnesses and the external are showing you that your faith is justified. It's going to bring you the witnesses to show you the external world, the exterior, that it matches the interior. It's a mirror for the interior. So you shift there, and then faith. You have faith initially when you do this, and then the external shows, oh, look, your faith's justified. Then that confirms that you were right. That strengthens your faith. That's how it works. And so the more you do them, the more you start to believe, and that gap gets closed. Before you couldn't quite believe it, then as you do it, you start to believe more and more because you're seeing, the results. So it's like experiential learning of the truth.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so profound. You're learning the truth of oneness systematically and progressively every time you let go and you invite a miracle into your mind. You see that? Moment by moment, situation by situation. Because how are you going to learn that except in those bite-sized chunks? To get the whole of eternity and revelation in one go is probably not going to happen. Occasionally someone can have a revelatory experience just out of the blue. It's unusual, but it can happen. But then they would probably go, well, what was that? I have to try and figure out what that was and go through the steps to work out after my mind, because I can't accept that experience. So that's what we're doing here. We're preparing ourselves for the revelation experience by doing the miracles, putting in place these structures. It's like a foundation for the experience of revelation to come when the mind is ready. And that will happen spontaneously. As you know, you just spontaneously go into a deep state of peace, some kind of mystic experience. You didn't plan it. It just happens when you're ready. And it's probably not going to last that long in time because you can't really operate in that state. So you probably have to come out of it. But it's preparing, all of this works, preparing your mind for that ultimate state of grace where you just one day you surrender into it. You lay the body aside, the dream is over, and you just merge into that awareness. And the body's like, he said in the Song of Prayer, I don't know if you read that bit about your attitude to death. You're saying, well, it's just like unused. It's like a garment that's not needed anymore. You just dispose of it. That's what death should be. It's like no drama, no fuss. Body's just, I'm ready to let it go and lay it aside because I don't need it anymore. But all of this, the miracles and all of the spiritual work, the preparation for that, easy transition. Okay, I can just, great. It's like taking off a tight shoe. Said Ram Dass's guide. It's like just take it off and you're free. No more body, and your mind is free, and you don't have to come back into the imprisonment. You've chosen the freedom so comprehensively that there's no longer a belief that you need to be imprisoned by the ego anymore. So you just don't come back into your body and into time space. Okay, so the miracle, justify your faith in it. Did you read that one?
And I'm up to, and thus the miracle will justify your faith in it and show it rested on a world more real than what you saw before a world redeemed from what you thought was there. And so the miracle will justify your faith in it and show it rested on a world more real than what you saw before, a world transformed from what you thought was there. I still keep wanting to say here. Funny. Bit of resistance.
Thought was there, here. You thought was here.
When I
Good
say
detail.
there, when I say
Mhm.
there, it feels like it's out there somewhere away from me. When I say it's here, it's like my experience in the moment. Well, not in the moment, you're doing ego, but you
But
know.
remember, he's talking about a world transformed from what you thought was there. So it's
So that's
he's
the illusion
talking
over
about
there.
the illusion, yeah.
But
And
even
that
then, it's not over there, it's always here, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're surrounded by the illusion when you're perceiving it. And then when you're
Yeah.
out of the illusion, there's only here now. Anyway, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Now here, which is if you put those two together, it's nowhere.
Nowhere. Yeah, no.
Now here, I'm actually nowhere. On the road to nowhere. Which ultimately is where you're going. You know, infinity and eternity is nowhere. There's no time, there's no place. It's nowhere, which makes the ego nervous. So the ego has to give a a form identity. It means you have to be somewhere, don't you? You have to have a body, a fixed location in time and space, which is all very limiting. If you've got a fixed location, you're here, then by definition you're not everywhere. You're here in this specific location, and you can't be everywhere. So it's very very limiting. The specifics are very limiting.
Yeah.
We need the miracle to free our minds. Okay. So happy with number 4?
Yeah.
What's he saying in summary? So the miracle will justify your faith. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just saying the internal shift will be confirmed by the external shift. You'll see that mirrored in the external world, which will then confirm your faith.
Yeah. Miracles fall like drops of healing rain from heaven on a dry and dusty world, where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. Miracles fall like drops of healing rain from the state of pure formless awareness on a dry and dusty world, where starved and thirsty creatures come to die.
Great imagery. It's no poetry. To try and make you aware of, okay, well, this is what this world is. It's this dry, dusty world. Everyone's starving and thirsty, and then the miracle comes and it brings the life-giving water. And we all understand that quite well. We've all been thirsty and all know about deserts, and so a great analogy to try and illustrate, just how starved we are. If we don't have the Holy Spirit guiding us, then we are starved, and we're just starved and thirsty, come to die. Trying to get scraps from the world, scraps of pleasure, and avoiding pain, and that becomes our reality, instead of opening up to the transcendent and saying, well, what's beyond this dry and dusty world. So the miracles are like the lifeline. They bring this life-giving water, the presence, the essence of love, into the world. Allow us to perceive it and express it. And then he says, now the world is green.
We haven't done now they have water.
Yeah.
Now the world is green. The alternative, now they have water, now the world is green. Yeah, same thing. And everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die, for what has life has immortality. And everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die, for what has life has immortality. Quite nice reading it twice, even if it's the same words, it's quite nice.
Well, I think there's a value in doing it this way, isn't it? It makes you study it. If you break it up like this, it's more like, okay, I'm going to read it carefully. I'm going to read it twice, go over it. So I think you're going to get more out of studying a section like this if you do it twice, even if it is the same words.
Yeah.
So this is like the study guide, so how to study the course, I think, even if it is the same words, because you read it a second time and you're like, oh, okay, well maybe I got it. It makes you pause between sentences as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so just pointing out the truth that this is connecting you with immortal life. What was born can never die. So there is no death really. You transcend, the dream of starvation and thirst and suffering and death, and the miracles show you that there is another reality, which is why they're so powerful. Okay, so let's do this one quickly. Got 15 minutes to do the lesson.
Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not, but give each one a miracle of love instead. Alternatively, I let my true self perceive everything for me and do not condemn anything, but instead let go of everything and give it a correction of love.
Yeah. So judgment, I mean, the key point there, that word judge, judgment is when you make something real and you condemn it. And you go, this is bad, evil, sinful, and this person, or you can do it for things, even inanimate things, project guilt onto it and condemn it. People might even say, like, this blasted weather, or this, stupid traffic, or whatever. And it's just condemnation, isn't it? So you got to be aware of that, because what you've done there in that moment is made the external world real, and you've set up a resistance to it. So you've made it more real than your perception. And that's going to enslave you. That's going to cause, endless pain and suffering, instead of letting it go and giving it a correction of love. So say, no, this isn't true, because nothing that I'm seeing here is true. So there is no traffic. There is no foul weather. Actually, the truth is that I'm still resting in my own true awareness. Nothing's really changed. So it connects you with your source. Give it a correction of love. That's the true awareness, pure formless awareness, perfect love is coming through to correct that condemnation. You see what judgment does in the ego's hands? It makes the world real, and it makes you, the perceiver, real. So the world and your self-concept go hand in hand. Perceive the world as real, then you strengthen the self-concept that made it up and now wants to continue believing in it. You see that? The way out of that is, well, let go of those judgments, because that weakens the self-concept and frees your mind to access your true awareness, which is beyond time and space, beyond the world.
Okay, do you think we're going to do it?
Yeah, read number 1.
We're doing this in 10 minutes. So would I liberate all things I see and give them the freedom that I seek? So I choose to liberate everything I see and give them the freedom that I seek. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, give.
I always have an issue with the word seek, because when you seek, you never find, do you?
Give them the freedom that I seek. Yeah, remember, he's meeting us where we are.
Yeah, okay.
So I think I'm still seeking, otherwise I wouldn't have to do the lessons.
Yeah.
if we'd found. So he's just meeting us, where we think we are. To liberate everything I perceive, maybe. Perceive. And give to all things. See why I said all things. Maybe we can just mean that as all things, because then we've got the them. All things I perceive. give to them the freedom that I seek. Okay. So to liberate is just to drop our judgments of all things and open our mind to this correction, bringing in pure formless awareness of perfect love, instead of misperceiving the illusions.
Yeah.
Okay.
For thus do I obey the law of love and give what I would find and make my own. For so do I obey the law of love and give what I want to find and make my own. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do that.
Number 3, it will be given me because I have chosen it as the gift I want to give. It will be given to me because I have chosen it as the gift I want to give. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So choice, I choose to give and receive. As I give, I receive it. I realize that it's out. And then as you do that, you realize it's unlimited. And you're in quantity, you can't lose it.
Yeah.
The more you give it, the more you receive it.
Yeah. Father, your gifts are mine. My source, your gifts are mine. Each one that I accept gives me a miracle to give. Each one that I accept gives me a miracle. Okay. Each one that I accept gives me a correction to give. Yeah.
So I give corrections. So I'm giving a correction when I correct my own perception of a situation.
Yeah. And giving as I would receive, I learn your healing miracles belong to me. And giving as I want to receive, I learn that your healing corrections belong to me. Yeah, it's real liberation, isn't it?
So as I give them, I receive them because I'm accessing the source that's behind giving and receiving. So the more I give them, the more I receive them. The more love I give, the more I receive it. So it doesn't obey the laws of the world. There's no scarcity or lack. It's like, well, why wouldn't you just forgive then all the time? If you understood what it's doing. But the ego is still attached to its dreams, so it likes to keep us limited to that and say, oh, well, if you give too much, then you're not going to have anything for yourself.
But what happens if somebody asks you to do something and you don't want to do it? It doesn't resonate to do. But there are.
Okay.
It feels like it's something that is taken. If you're having to do something that you don't want to do, yes, you can give freely, but then it also comes to a point where you go, no, that's not for me. I don't know. That's what was coming up for me.
Well, it doesn't mean you have to do everything in form. You've got to have some discernment. But you could still forgive if someone asking you to do something. You say, no, that doesn't resonate. I could say no, but do it with grace and bless them.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's not appropriate for me. Maybe it's hurtful. It could be potentially harmful for me and others. It's not in alignment with my thought system. If someone asks you to go and kill someone or rob a bank, or you can't. There's certain things you can't do. Yes, it does say, if there's something that someone asks that's outrageous, do it anyway because it doesn't matter. But then I'd say you would have to have a little bit of discernment with that in this world, because that the discernment would be: is that actually harmful? If I do that, is it going to hurt anyone? And if that's the case, if it's harmless, someone says, give me £100. Okay, well, maybe, all right, no big deal. But give me your entire fortune in your house. Well, maybe that's actually harmful, because then the person learns that they've got something for free, and they haven't earned it, so they'd struggle. So yeah, I mean, just be a little bit practical and discerning as well with the application of these things. But you can always do it in love. That's the key. whatever you do can be done in a state of love. Even if you say no, you can say it with love. Okay, well, no, no, that's not okay. I'm doing it because that's, I'm honoring my true self, and so no, but I don't have a grudge. I don't condemn you. Just, that's out of alignment. That's not what I choose to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So last paragraph.
Our Father knows our needs. My source knows my needs. He gives us grace to meet them all. It gives me grace to meet them all. And so we trust him to send us miracles to bless the world and heal our minds as we return to him. And so I trust in it to give me corrections to bless the world and heal my mind as I return to it. Hallelujah.
So it's trusting the source and trusting it to meet all the needs. And you do that when you let go. You let go of your own interpretation of the problem. You go, okay, I don't know the answer, so you show me. And I'm letting go of my fear and judgment and whatever's blocking my awareness, and opening to the source, which will bring the corrections internally and then on the external level to bless the world. It's the external aspect of reality, and heal my mind as I return to it. So you get in this track of correction, then you see that mirrored in the world, and that confirms that the correction was true, and that reinforces your faith, and then you do more of it, and it becomes a positive cycle. And that's what the Holy Spirit's trying to do here. It's trying to get you to use the world in this positive way. Okay, so any thoughts on that? Otherwise,
No.
Bring the session to a close. Good session. Very comprehensive, I thought. I'm glad we went through the insert.
Yeah.
Because it's the last, we're moving on to another one shortly. As the last insert, we're on the last lap of this whole program. How's that?
Yay.
15 lessons to go or something. Whoa, it's like a marathon. I'm at the end of a marathon. Just keep going. Just keep going. And then, well, it starts straight away, the next one, but at least I've got all the content. So, that's useful. I don't think all right, I think that's my next meeting. So I'll see you, Sally, on Sunday at 5 p.m. Okay.
You can certainly start at 5 p.m. and I'll join you as soon as I can.
Right, you've got something else on.
I've got a workshop on, but I will join you soon after, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, so have a good weekend. And there's a master. I'm going to invite some people. So if you want to invite anyone to join, then you can.
Okay.
So, okay. I'm probably going to post some of them actually because I've got a bit of time tomorrow. All right.
All right then. See you then.
Thanks.
Bye.
Namaste. Bye. All right. So it's just recorded. Stop the share.